Hi all, welcome back to Unpitch Catch. RCB have now won their second Women's Premier League tournament title. That now means they have, as a franchise, they have won three star PL tournament like IPL, WPL, etc. in a row. Basically, starting with the women in 24, and then the men last year, and then the women again. And so near yet so far story for DC. They are now losing finalists in all four WPLs so far. I mean, it must be a pretty sad story, but I'm sure they'll find some positives out of it. Getting to a final is still a big deal. So I'm sure they'll think about it and look at like how do we move forward, etc. What did you observe yesterday,
I
Ganesh?
mean, I was really shocked when I realized that DC has gone there four times and not one even once. Very unfortunate. It's been MI RCB, MI RCB, and
Yeah.
all the four times it's been DC. I think I mean, it's a Saurav Ganguly effect. After the NatWest 2003 final, India, except for that, India went to a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, they were.
finals and
Yeah,
never won anything.
correct.
There was always that story about India making to the final and not winning. So again, DC is mentored by Saurav
Ganguly.
Ganguly this time, and in fact, even in the SA20 final, his team went up to the finals and lost in the final.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
the Ganguly and the final
Effect.
effect is in play, I think. But
Correct.
a lot of credit to RCB, obviously. Now, like you said, they have a hat trick of star PL titles. Starting with the women. Of course, the women started it in 2024. Um, but overall, I mean, let's look at the RCB chase first. I think RCB, the moment it was a huge total of, I think it's the highest total in a WPL final, right, Jaga?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, DC basically made the highest total in a WPL final, and RCB overhauled it like within a couple of hours. So the record only stayed for a couple of hours at the most.
It reminds me of.
That's the if you folks remember in 2006 there was the Australia South Africa match. Australia made 434. It was a world record at that time, and then South Africa basically overhauled it 3 hours, 3.5 hours later. It's very similar to that. So I just like Callis at that time supposed to have said, "Boys, they're 15 short."
The
I'm sure
450 wicket.
Smriti and others would have also been feeling something similar.
Yeah, I mean, talking of Smriti, that was a great innings. As soon as the first wicket fell, Georgia Owl came in and took the pressure of Smriti excellently well. She kept hitting boundaries at will.
Yeah,
She eventually ended up scoring 14 boundaries without a single six. But Smriti, on the other hand, I mean, I think it was a sublime innings, Jagat. To watch through it, it was brilliant. The way she paced her innings, she let Georgia Owl initially
yeah,
do a lot of the scoring, though she didn't have much strike at all initially. The first three, four
correct.
overs, she didn't get much strike. Georgia Hall was doing all the scoring and most of the facing of the deliveries also. And after that, when Smriti took over, it was a sublime innings. It did not. She eventually scored 87 of 41 runs with a
Yeah,
200 plus strike rate. I think the adjective sublime doesn't suit an innings of that stature. 87 of 41. You usually say it in Test
correct. Yeah.
cricket or an ODI cricket, and even in one day. I mean, T20. If you have to say, it's like a 40 ball 50 when.
Bludgeoned.
Uh,
Bludgeoned 41 ball 87.
Legend or Shahid Afridi, all
Uh,
those things come to mind. But this was a 41 ball 87, which was brilliant. The only ugly shot she played was the one she got out, which she didn't make connection. So it was
yeah,
brilliant to watch. I enjoyed her batting. I mean, to be honest,
absolutely. I mean,
I was very unhappy towards the end of the last 2 3 overs when RCB looked like fluffing that chase at one
yeah,
point of
they
time.
nearly did, right? Because as soon as she was out, next ball, Radha Yadav kited into the air, and it was a very easy catch that should have been taken. And they scored 2 runs in that ball. That
Yes,
would have, if they had got out, they would have been 191 for five with only the lower order remaining and still needing, like, I think 13 runs
13
in
runs
seven
or
balls or
so.
something like that, right? So it may have been very interesting. But
Yeah, it would
eventually,
have
I
been
guess Nadine de Klerk was there, so maybe she would have still got them home. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Smriti's innings was absolutely wonderful to watch. She generally is very wonderful to watch. But this one in a final as the captain with the whole
highest chase,
RCB baggage
highest chase
and a
ever.
chase. Yeah, so it
So
was an
it was
absolutely,
excellent the
wonderful
way.
innings to watch.
And also on the other hand, I felt after the first 6 overs when they go scored almost close to 60 or more than 60 during the chase, I think Jemima lost it. I feel Jemima kept changing bowlers like, okay, this over will be bowled by seven, by one, by X, Y, Z, and then A, B, C. So she kept changing the bowlers. She didn't have a plan in mind. The moment Wall and Smriti started hitting, I feel
Okay.
that she could have tightened a little bit more with a few more overs. Even Charani didn't bowl enough initially when they got hit. Even first over she got hit, yes, but Charani that she's capable
Right.
of bowling a much tighter line and lengths. She didn't. I think it made the job easy for Smriti and Mole, not taking anything away from them. But at the same time, Jemima's captaincy, I felt was a bit wanting towards
Yeah.
after the power play, especially she had. I think she was also enjoying her friends hitting. Smriti is hitting,
But
and she asked who to bowl.
I guess some amount of inexperience as well may have come into the picture. This is the first time she's captaining because Meg Lanning was the
Yes,
captain in the last few seasons. So it's probably something that she'll have to work on over a period of time. I mean, but you have your mentors and coaches and all of them are around to come up with this whole plan A, plan B, plan C. Evidently, that maybe didn't happen or didn't get used. But actually, I felt that DC actually started pretty well. They had a nice start with
Lee.
Shefali, and then they were like, this was pretty rapid. But I think what they probably missed out was probably around 10-15 runs extra because they didn't seem to accelerate. They were always going at that 10-10.5 runs and over. So much so that, like, I think when the 17th over started,
They
they
were
had only lost
155.
3 wickets.
No, they were 155 at the end of
Yeah,
the
so which means they
17th.
basically scored 48 in the last four or
Three.
18. So
Last
three
three.
overs.
So which
Yeah,
means no, from 11 to 15 they didn't score enough runs. I feel.
correct. Yeah, correct. So I think they definitely lost out on some runs there, which eventually comes back to impact them. But I think the other piece to it is when they were batting, you had Lauren Bell giving away 19 runs in 4 overs in a final. That's just, insanely, and whatever adjectives you want to use. It's not
Hazelwood-esque.
that
That's
happens.
Hazelwood-esque.
It's very Hazelwood-esque. I mean, with the news that he's not going to be in the T20 World Cup, the nice replacement. So it was amazing. Like you don't get that kind of insane bowling spell in a final, in a 200 tournament, in a 200 score, basically.
So yes, she was too good.
Yeah, anyway, when we are speaking of insane bowling, we have some insane batting going on right now with Vaibhav Suryanshi has just scored 150. This is the India versus England under 19 final. It's happening today. Vaibhav scored 150 in 72 balls. It's incredible.
155 of 70, 155 of
155.
72 balls, 13 fours and 13 sixes.
Yeah, so there's that match is going on. England, India are like scoring at 10 runs and over almost right now, 229 in the 24th over. There's a partnership going on of around 60 something runs. Vedant Trivedi has scored 8 of them. So it's going to be a very high chase for England. Let's see how that match finishes. And tomorrow the T20 World Cup starts, so we'll come back with a short video on that as well. Any closing thoughts from a WPL perspective, Ganesh?
I mean, it's a lot of congratulations to the WPL women. I mean, all teams, especially. I think
And yeah,
everybody played very well. I mean, I feel the level of game is improving with every year in
except UP
WPL.
maybe.
No, no. I think even UP had a couple of good games
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of performances, at least individual
correct, correct.
performances. The way some of the couple of catches they took, bowling
Yeah,
spells, batting innings, but overall they couldn't put
yeah,
a team performance together. But overall, I think the women's game is getting better with every
yeah, yeah,
year,
you
is what
can.
I feel. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not the Australia and England who dominate all the time. Their level of game is too different, but I think the other girl are also doing well. So that is one good congratulations again. The hat trick to RCB. The RCB management should be very happy.
absolutely. Yeah. And with that, we'll close out. Thanks a lot. Please do keep watching, and we'll be back maybe in a day with the preview of the T20 World Cup, and of course, what happens in the Under 19 World Cup final. Thank you all. Bye.